Siddhaswarupananda, Paramahamsa namine, Gora Karuna Swarupaya, Radha Krishna Prasnaya Nama Siddhaswarupananda, Paramahamsa namine, Gora Karuna Swarupaya, Radha Krishna Prasnaya. Namo Siddhaswarupananda, Paramahamsa namine, Gora Karuna Swarupaya, Radha Krishna Prasnayante. Namo Siddhaswarupananda, Paramahamsa namine, Gora Karuna Swarupaya, Radha Krishna Prasnayante. Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nayanya, 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 Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nayanya. Wanda Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Shri Vasudeva Bhakta Vrinda. Haribol, Nitai Gaur, Haribol. Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana, 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 Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana. Haribol, Nitai Gaur, Jai Jaya Nitai Gaur, Haribol. Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana, Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana. Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana, Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana. Siddhaswarupananda, Paramahamsa Navinei, Gora Karuna Swaripaya, Radha Krishna Prestaya Te.
So, Honorable Namaste. So this morning, we'll read the wonderful pastimes of Lord Chaitanya. And it's connected with the holy names. So, I'll read it in English, then I'll narrate it in vernacular. But before discussing this, I'd like to reiterate something or say something. It is about the predicament or the obstacle or the problem we face in this material world. It is about our immersion in this world based upon the disease of materialism. We're so immersed in this material world. It's like when a person step on the quicksand and being sucked by the quicksand. So he gets really covered by the sun and he becomes helpless. It is very important to understand and be very clear with what activities we should be engaging in and what consciousness we should be having and awareness and activities that will help us become aware of our true transcendental essence and be connected with the source of what we're longing for, happiness. Because the living entity, all of us, by nature, we're joyful. But because of false immersion, a misdirection of our activities, our consciousness has become covered by the modes of material nature, and we are so much immersed in trying to dominate and be secured in this material world. So look closely. On one hand, we want happiness and joy. But the activities we do engage in is like the quicksand. The more we get immersed, the more we get sucked in by the quicksand, the more we become helpless. We're in darkness. We're empty-hearted. So it's like that. The living entity, who is a different energy from Mother, begins to get immersed, meaning his sense perception, his focus is about this world, connected with his longing to be satisfied within. But the problem is, the focus is in the wrong direction. It's about this material world. Okay. So through the mercy of Lord Krsna and Lord Chaitanya and our Gurudev, we're given a process so we can be aware of our true transcendental nature and be aware. And in this consciousness, we should be very discerning, wherein we can check, where am I heading? Where am I going? What is happening to me? In my endeavor to find security and happiness, am I really having this success? Am I successful? Or I'm still groping in the dark with no clarity to be sheltered, to be protected, and the longing for happiness and security that will satiate the heart is not achieved because my awareness is immersion upon this world. So the process of transcendental meditation, it is about hearing and listening and engaging in activities that will purify us from this material immersion. Because spiritual energy is more powerful than material energy. But the problem is when the living entity, us, who is minute by nature, tries to manipulate this material energy, we become covered. So that is what we are now all engaging in. A search for a perpetual happiness, but we are in the wrong direction because of false bodily identification. And the force that drives us are the desires in the mind. And the desires in the mind are what we did experience, that there's some sense or flickering pleasure there. So when empty-hearted, we see the desire, we are given impetus by the three modes of material nature, then we try to pursue happiness through these temporary senses and try to find fulfillment with flickering happiness, sensual enjoyment. That's the problem we face. So I'll read muna yung situation of someone who is making progress in spiritual life. Meaning, he's in the right direction and he's now aware of his true identity. Aware siya. He realized. But the problem is that what will motivate him, what will drive him to pursue these eternal, transcendental activities, the goal of life to be situated with the pleasure of God, to know the Supreme Person, to love the Supreme Person. What will motivate you? It is the uncovering of our true identity. And when we come in contact with the representative of God, the spiritual master, he blesses us. He gives us benediction. Through his mercy, we become purified. Simply by seeing the spiritual master, unfathomable spiritual growth or achievement can be achieved simply seeing the spiritual master. What more if we listen carefully from the nectarian transcendental words that he's trying to communicate to us that will touch the core of our heart to connect us with the source of happiness which we are longing for. Okay? Is it clear? Klaro sa inyo, okay? Ito yung consciousness ng person. One who is able to withdraw his senses from sense object as the tortoise draws his limbs within the shell is to be understood as truly situated in knowledge. So when one chants the holy names, the purificatory process, and hear the nectarian words coming from the spiritual master, it connects one with the source of happiness, the will of God. Now it's up to us to apply and meditate upon the transcendental eternal process and activities centered around the hearing and the chanting of the holy names. So the living entity who is now in this quagmire or covered by, still covered with ignorance and now focus upon this world is someone like who is being sucked by the quicksand. So someone comes and pulls our hand. It's hard. Excuse me. You have to hold on. And he pulls you. Okay. So the more we learn and understand the science, the more we become purified and our intelligence becomes purified, the mind becomes purified, and the heart becomes purified. We're able to see what distracts us, what separates us, what diverts us, what stops us, to be able to be connected in rendering a connection of love in service to the Supreme Person, to do what is pleasing to Him, to do His will. Because for so long, we have been trying to do our own will and our goal to experience real fulfillment is not achieved. Because we are not self-sufficient. We're not God. Okay. So, one is able to withdraw his senses from sense object, meaning he's able to see the difference between himself, the body, the mind, the intelligence, and now through experiencing a higher taste by listening to the sweet nectarian words coming from our spiritual master and the holy names of God, the source of pleasure and happiness, the Supreme Person, one is able to hold on with what is happiness because it's connected with one's life, with one's heart. So he has no fear. So he's able to withdraw the senses like a tortoise, yung baoba. When there's danger, he's able to withdraw. So while you're in this body, all the desires in your mind will be there. Your experience in this material world. So, while you're performing your activities and engaging with work, with chores, to be able to please God, the desires will be there. But you will not follow the desires. It's just there, you're able to withdraw the senses. Why? Because of the process of devotional service wherein you're able to engage your body, your mind, your intelligence in practical activities, rendering service to God. The hearing, the seeing, the touching is now centered around a focus upon the pleasure of God, which is rendering loving service. So it's a higher taste because it's a relationship with someone you're longing for that is eternal. So the relationship we do have in this world, either connected with your body, your extended false ego, meaning my son, my family, my nation, all these labels, is not eternal. Because when you leave the body, all the labels that is attached to your body, you leave it behind. Is it clear and understandable? But because we are in this quicksand, it's really hard to get out. Why? Because of our focus and meditation. So the more you focus upon this material world, the more you become empty-hearted. You may be covered, you're thinking that, wow, if I have all these material things, I will be happy. But the more you get all these things, it's like you become so empty, it's like the happiness you're longing becomes nil and nil and nil because you're covered by material desires and you're trying to focus your life entering the quicksand. Your immersion is upon the quicksand, this dead world. It is understandable? Klaro sa inyo? Okay? The embodied soul may be restricted from sense enjoyment to the taste of sense object remains. But ceasing such engagement by experiencing a higher taste, he is fixed in consciousness. Meaning you are now connected and experiencing this clarity and purification of applying the process that will purify us, the living entity, from this quagmire, getting out of the quicksand, the holy names of God. So now, I'll read to you here activities that will enliven us, give us life, that our meditation will be a focus upon what we're longing for, the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya and his relationship with his pure loving servant. Okay? Because that is the best meditation, to meditate upon the eternal activities of Lord Chaitanya based upon his relationship with his pure devotees and his intent to help us taste what he's tasting. The experience of longing and meditating upon a relationship that is transcendental, loving service to the Supreme Person. So you may be in this world, separate, you're thinking, I cannot see God with my eyes, but He comes as the holy names, He comes as the deity that will purify you, will connect you, that touches the core of your heart. So, that's the discussion we did have yesterday. Lord Krishna is hidden from the eyes of the materialist. Why? Because we are so much immersed in the quicksand. Our focus and meditation is upon this dead world. We cannot see Krishna. He is only revealed to his loving servant who has become purified from this lordship mentality and so much in understanding and a quest, a meditation to be connected with this loving service to Him, Lord Krishna. So that is the meditation when you chant the holy names of God. You get out of that quicksand. So you should be stopping, you should put a stop. Like if there's for example, there's a crossroad and there's a lot of cars and then you're driving so fast and then stop. Why? Because you need to stop because the other side, in front of you, it's a go. And then if you don't stop, you'll bump the cars passing in front of you. You stop. Okay? So in our life, we should also ask ourselves, what will I achieve if I make so much effort, put my whole, like you put all your marbles, okay, your life, your time, energy upon this quicksand. So the more you acquire material wealth and try to take shelter of this material world, it's like you're being sucked by the quicksand. That is the situation of all of us here. But we are fortunate because someone who sees us drowning, not from the ocean, but from this quicksand, with our hands, and then getting sucked in, He holds our hands. He pulls us. But you must make effort to hold that hand. You must engage in an effort to cling. And when you cling to the source of life and happiness, to the real eternal protection, which is the embrace of Lord Krishna, the holy names, and Lord Chaitanya, our Gurudev, Srila Prabhupada, Parampara, you entered a dimension that is transcendental from this quicksand. Because you see Krishna. So the first qualification, we must become real devotees. Is it clear? Is understandable? So all what we have to do is just listen from the teachings that is descending, coming from God. Only God can reveal Himself to us because He's a person. Okay? He can reveal Himself. And the qualification is that we must become devotees of God. We must not be envious of God. We must become free from this material consideration. We must experience this humility in our heart that yes, I am in this quagmire, in this quicksand. Please hold my hand, lift me up so I can be saved. But when you are desire-driven, the senses are very impetuous, turbulent. It's like you cannot sit down and just focus upon your relationship with God because the senses will be very turbulent because your meditation in this material world is diving in the quicksand. Is it clear? Okay. I like to read here that will enliven us, will give us a joy in our heart. It is about the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya, how sweet Lord Krishna is when He relates to His devotees, and how He is our well-wisher. And the spiritual master is our well-wisher. Just like sometimes you have seen individuals who were brought up in a very dire situation. They're so poor, it's whole hardship. Then somewhere along the line, good karma comes in. For all his life, he experienced hunger, insecurity, and no house to stay. But after a while, when he's given this wealth, he begins to consider those who are marginalized and those who are in need. So he puts up an institution or help others by giving them jobs or helping them to experience an alleviation from their economic situation. When someone is fortunate enough na who becomes very rich and he has this heart for those individuals who were experiencing the same experience he did experience when he doesn't have anything. So he goes out and, he opens up a shelter for people to be fed, to feed the people who are homeless, a shelter for them, because he's now feeling akin to what he experienced before and these people are experiencing. He wants to help them. Okay. So the devotee of God, in a sense, that's an analogy. So the devotee of God, the living entity who is suffering, who is in this quicksand, when he gets out of the quicksand, he sees, wow, okay? And then, through the happiness and the transcendental experience and shelter and security that is absolute, no way that he'll gonna dive again in that quicksand because he experiencing a higher taste. Although the sense objects, the sense pleasure in his mind are there while you're in this body, because naturally the senses will experience flickering sensual pleasure. The sense of touch, the sense of tasting. But he will be very fixed because his heart, his life is focused upon that transcendental world. That is life, living a world of happiness. So prior to coming in contact with this wisdom, we are in the world of darkness because we are not just drowning in the ocean, we are being sucked by the quicksand because our focus is upon this giant quicksand, the material world. And not only that, it sucks us. Is it clear sa inyo? So now you should, driving, and stop. Okay? You may get bumped by the car in front of you. So all of us here, you should stop because you have only a certain time in your body. And you have this human form. You have the intelligence to ask, why am I here? What should I do with my life? Am I really happy here? What is death? Where will I go when I leave the body? Who is my shelter? Who is my friend? You should ask this question. Because the animals, the living entities who have animal body, they are under the direction of material nature. It's material nature who takes care of them. But all of us here have this intelligence. That's why you struggle. You work hard. Because you have to maintain your body's needs. Okay? You can direct your life where you would want to be directed by what you see and perceive that will give you shelter and protection. But the question is that really the goal of life? To be sucked in this quicksand? Okay? Understandable? Is it clear? Okay. I'll read here a very nice Pastimes of Lord Chaitanya, transcendental experience of Lord Chaitanya's loving relationship with his devotees. So we should enter that world in meditation while we are in this body now. So when you chant the holy names, you hear the Pastimes of Lord Chaitanya, it will give you a higher taste, a higher pleasure, a meditation that gives security to the heart. Okay. So what are the meditation that people do engage in? They look at YouTube, FB, and it's all about TikTok. Yeah? That's what they try to portray. Okay? It's so sad because they're so immersed in the quicksand. You know what's quicksand? Kumunoy ba? Everybody's there. Huh? Maganon-ganon ang hiwi ang baba. Papangit ang baba, tas sasayaw. Okay? And everybody, wow, kagalang sumayaw, kisi-kisi. Pero mas maayo pa ko mo sayaw dia, magkisi-kisi ko tanan. Okay? Maghubo ko, ipakita na ako akong breast, magkisi-kisi tanan. Pagkisi-kisi na ako, okay? Oh, heavy. Palakpakan lahat. Mas heavy pa ko diha. Kay tibuok body, pati akong lubot, magkisi-kisi. Okay? You get so immersed in the quicksand. So it's sad. Okay. So when the living entity makes progress in his relationship with God, he makes a stand to be a real devotee, a loving servant of God, to be a living example of what has been given to him and pass it on. Okay? He feels happiness in the progress of those individuals who are listening and understanding and living a life that is living and full of happiness. That becomes his life. So you don't need to leave your home. You don't need to go to the mountains to be alone. Okay? You don't need to renounce anything. Leave everything. No need. That's why I like you to listen to the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya. Okay? Let's listen to the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya traveled a lot. Okay? He goes from one holy place to another. And wherever he goes, there is the immersion of all those who come in contact with him, Haribol, chanting the holy names, Krishna, Krishna. Okay. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not manifest spiritual potencies at Navadvip, but he did manifest them in South India and liberated all the people there. So simply seeing Lord Chaitanya, one becomes liberated. That's why it's very important to see the spiritual master. And the most important is that we are able to listen to the nectarian transcendental words that comes out of his heart, his loving relationship of pure devotional service for the Supreme Person. So when you are making progress, you are like the rain cloud. You pass on this transcendental science, happiness, so everybody can benefit from it. So that is what we should check in ourselves. It's not just simply, I chant, I become pure, I'll experience the transcendental happiness of Krishna, Krishna, very happy. That's not. You should be transcendental in any way because you're transcendental. And that transcendental experience is in connection with the pleasure of God and your Gurudev. Is it clear? Understandable? Okay. Meaning, the spiritual master wants us to progress. He wants us to be spiritual master. And spiritual master is not a position. It is a state of consciousness wherein you're loving the Supreme Person full on, unflinching, untainted, pure loving service. And it is achievable if we simply focus our heart, our life, when we put ourselves into this. Stop first. Where am I heading? I'm in this quicksand. Can I get out of this quicksand? Yes, you can. Okay. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, empowering of others can be understood by one who is actually a devotee of the Lord, who has received the mercy of the Lord. So the spiritual master, through his association, through hearing from him, we become attracted to the nectarian world of pure loving service to the Supreme Person. We find happiness in hearing and chanting the holy names of God. But in our conditioning, we are so focused upon this dead world. You can see the difference. On one hand, we're so immersed looking for happiness in the wrong direction. On the other hand, when we come in contact with the teachings of Lord Chaitanya and our spiritual master, we experience real connection with the source of happiness. It's about life. It's about living. It's not the living dead. Is it clear sa inyo? Okay. Lord Shri Krishna Chaitanya empowering of others can be understood by one who is actually a devotee of Lord Krishna and who has received his mercy. If one does not believe in the uncommon activities, transcendental pastimes of the Lord, he is vanquished both in the world and in the next. Kaya nga sabi ni Lord Krishna, fools deride me when I descend in human form. Alam niyo yung fools? Yung moron ba? Yung fools, yung mga hangal. Okay? Na hangal, yung mga mayabang. They deride the Supreme Person when he comes in the human form of life. But when Lord Krishna came here 5,000 years ago, He established His supremacy. All the demigods, Lord Brahma comes, King Indra comes to offer obeisances to Him. All the demons were vanquished and the devotees protected. And He established this transcendental assurance, just surrender unto me and I will protect you. So, it was shown during His pastime that all the devotees were protected. And when the demons were vanquished, they're still in a situation wherein they benefited. They're all liberated. Because they came in contact with the Supreme Purifier, Lord Krishna, the Supreme Person. Whatever I have stated about the beginning of the Lord's movement should also be understood to hold for as long as the Lord toured South India. So Lord Chaitanya toured South India. So there's this story when he met these devotees. When Lord Shri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to the holy place known as Kurmashetra, he saw the deity and offered prayers and obeisances. While at this place, Lord Shri Krishna Chaitanya was in usual ecstasy of love of Godhead and was laughing, crying, dancing, and chanting. Everyone saw him and was astonished. Meron din mga tao, they imitate Lord Chaitanya. Kakantayan, pipigain nila yung umiiyak, magligid-ligid, for a show, para sabihin devotee. The devotees, they try to control their ecstasy or happiness so they can perform or engage in their loving service to the Supreme Person. Like Uddhava, he was panning the Lord. And due to the experience, he's experiencing transcendental ecstasy, that all the transcendental ecstasy that he's trying to hold it so he can continue serving the Lord. Tindihan niya? Kaya nga yung mga devotees, yung mga gopis, they hate they're not really attracted to the ecstasy of crying for Krishna, because when tears drop from their eyes, there's parang a glitch ba? They cannot see Krishna. They want Lord Krishna, they want to see Lord Krishna. And they even, they even criticized the Creator. How come they were only given 2 eyes? They should be given millions of eyes to see Lord Krishna. They should be given millions of mouths so they can sing the glories of Krishna. It's a different world. Okay? After hearing these wonderful occurrences, everyone came to see him there, and where they saw the beauty of the Lord and his ecstatic condition, they were all struck with wonder. Kasi when they saw Lord Chaitanya, who is non-different, who is Lord Krishna himself, just by seeing Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, everyone became a devotee. They began to chant Krishna and Hari and all the holy names. They were merged in a great ecstasy of love, and they began to dance, raising their arms. Always hearing them chant the holy names of Lord Krishna, others also became Vaishnavas in those villages. So he's really influential. And the transcendental holy names of God being sung by none other than Lord Chaitanya and the devotees, it's so spiritually contaminating that purifies you to get out of that quicksand. So prior to experiencing this transcendental experience, you were so much immersed in material life. And you're so much immersed in diving in the quicksand. By hearing the holy names of Krishna, the entire country became Vaishnava. It was as if the nectar of the holy names of Krishna overflooded the entire country. The Philippines is very small compared. How many continents are there in this planet?
How many? More than seven? Seven? Seven, di ba? Oh, sa world, in this planet nga. South America, North America, Asia, di ba? Europe. And when you speak of Bharat at Barsa or India, the Philippines is so small. Okay? This country is very small.
After some time, when Lord Shri Krishna Mahaprabhu manifested his external consciousness, a priest of the Lord Kurma deity gave him various offerings. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu mode of preaching has already been explained, and I shall not repeat the explanation. In whichever village the Lord entered, his behavior was the same. So that is the test of the Vaishnava. If you become a bona fide guru, spiritual master, just like our spiritual master, wherever he goes, he influences individuals to get out of that quicksand and experience life and happiness. Unlike someone who is posing as a so-called guru, their goal is different. They teach, God made this world for us to enjoy. Go out and multiply. So their immersion is different. Our immersion should be a transcendental immersion with the word of life, Krishna. Okay? Multiply. In one village, there was a Vedic Brahmana named Kurma. He invited Lord Chaitanya to his home with great respect and devotion. This Brahmana brought Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to his home, washed his lotus feet, and with his family members drank the water. That Kurma Brahmana, with great affection and respect, made Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu eat all kinds of food. After that, the remnants were shared by all the members of the family. As we can see, every activities that is connected with devotional service, especially prasadam, has an immense benefit for the spirit soul. That's how this young boy became Narada Muni, by eating prasadam. You remember that pastimes? The mother of Narada Muni is a young boy. She's taking care of the Vaishnavas, the devotees. She cooks for them. And then this young boy, after the saintly person have finished their eating, he goes to them, offer respect, and asks, "Can I have some prasadam?" And by associating with them and eating prasadam, in his next life, he's Narada Muni. You cannot fathom God's mercy and love. So that is the qualification of a bona fide spiritual master. Unfathomable. Hindi nyo kayang sukatin yung compassion, pagmamahal niya sa atin. Kaya nga unconditional. Kaya if you're fortunate enough to come in contact with such a person, you must hold on. Okay? Cling to it. Because that is our eternal world. The word of loving the Supreme Person. The Brahmana then began to pray, "O my Lord, your lotus feet are meditated upon by Lord Brahma, and these very lotus feet have come into my home." Okay? That's why when you chant the holy names, this kingdom that you have, you understand? That you have a kingdom, this body? Now, we must not pollute our heart with envy, lust, and greed by the meditation we have been covered this material world. What we should do is that our heart must become pure, where Lord Krishna will always be with us. So the senses, the doors of this kingdom should be open to the transcendental names of God and activities that will be an invitation to Lord Krishna to be able to embrace our heart, the core of our heart. So that is the science of Bhakti Yoga. My dear Lord, there is no limit to my great fortune. It cannot be described today. My family, birth, and riches have all been glorified. The Brahmana begged Lord Chaitanya, my dear Lord, kindly show me favor and let me go with you. I can no longer tolerate the waves of misery caused by materialistic life. Gusto niya sumama kay Lord Chaitanya. Ayaw niya na ng material life. Okay? Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied, don't speak like that again. Better to remain at home and chant the holy names of Krishna always. Instruct everyone to follow the orders of Lord Shri Krishna as they are given in Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. In this way, become a spiritual master and try to liberate everyone in this land. So don't misconstrue that you should be imitating Haridas Thakur or Lord Chaitanya. Spiritual master is a state of consciousness of loving Krishna. So your service, what engagement you'll be engaging will be depend upon the direction of Lord Krishna. So spiritual life is not gauge how much a person do have followers. Okay? It is a state of the consciousness and the heart. That's why spiritual relationship with the Supreme Person, we must be very focused that it becomes so close that nothing goes bit in between except your love for the Supreme Person. And it's sustainable because even though you leave this body, you'll still be connected because there's no divisiveness between you, your love, and the Supreme Person. Because at the time you're living, while you're in this body, your love, your connection, everything you do is connected with your relationship with God. So this Brahmana, he wants to go to with Lord Chaitanya and chant and be chanting the holy names with Lord Chaitanya. But in Kali Yuga, you don't need to leave your home. You must make your home the temple of God. You must make your kingdom, this body, the temple of God. So whatever activities you're engaging in, you're a teacher, you're a mother, you make your life a temple of God. Is it clear? Okay. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu further advised the Brahmana Kurma, if you follow this instruction, your materialistic life at home will not obstruct your spiritual advancement. Indeed, if you follow these regulative principles, we will again meet here, or rather, you will never lose my company. At whatsoever house Sri Chaitanya accepted his alms by taking prasad, he would convert the dwellers to his Sankirtan movement and advise them just as he advised the Brahmana and Kurma. So this is the purport of his divine grace. The process of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is explained here very nicely. One who surrenders to him and is ready to follow him with heart and soul does not need to change his location, nor is it necessary for one to change status. One may remain a householder, a family man, a medical practitioner, a doctor, an engineer, a teacher, whatever, a soldier, it doesn't matter. Only one is to follow the instruction of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, chant the holy names, the Maha Mantra, and instruct relatives and friends in the teachings of Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. That's why you're chanting the holy names. You must be with clear understanding of the wisdom why you're doing it. So when you come in contact with someone and you give them the holy names and they ask about the meaning of the holy names and what you're doing, you're able to explain it clearly so they can understand the benefit that they will be experiencing and the direction in which they will be heading. Is it clear? So you can direct them to the world of pure devotional service through the example of Lord Chaitanya. You don't need to stay in a monastery like a monk
Like monk, you don't need to leave your family. Because in a truest sense, we're one family. What differentiates or separates us is our consciousness. So the devotees of God can be one through the chanting of the holy names. Because it's connected with one's heart and the Supreme Heart, Lord Krishna. While on his tour, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would spend the night at a temple or at the roadside. Whenever he accepted food from a person, he would give him the same advice he gave to the Brahmana named Kurma. He adopted this process until he returned from South India on a tour of Jagannath Puri. I've described the Lord's behavior elaborately in the case of Kurma. In this way, you will know Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu dealings throughout South India. So, the process is a process of enlightenment. It's not a process of joining. It is a process of uncovering or getting out of the quicksand to be with clarity of what we're doing and where we're heading. Until and unless we do understand our true transcendental nature and essence, it will be very hard to direct ourselves until you don't know who you are. So this simple question, who am I, should be addressed. And you should be very clear with what you're doing. And the only person who can give you clarity is someone who knows, who is with wisdom. And that is the spiritual master, who is the representative of God. To be able to teach love for God, you must follow someone who has unflinching and undeviated loving surrender to the Supreme Person. He can guide you. So, now you know you're not the body and the direction you'll be heading. The prayer should be a prayer wherein you pray in sincerity to desire to be in that direction, to be able to take and receive the mercy and be in that stage of consciousness. So that is the meditation you do engage every day while you're in this body, and when you leave this world, you go to Krishna. Because at the time you leave this world, when your heart is so much attached to the process of a relationship in pure devotional service with the Supreme Person, that's where your mind will go. So it means you become like the tortoise, that regarding of whatever desire are there, you can direct your life. You can make a decision that you won't be jumping inside the quicksand. You can now breathe and go directly to the right direction to go back to the world, our eternal world. The world of life and happiness. The world of Krishna. The transcendental world, Vaikuntha. Is it clear sa inyo? You have any question? You want to ask? Is it clear? So, 15 minutes na. We'll continue tomorrow yung isang miracle na naman ni Lord Chaitanya. Okay? Our mind should be immersed in the world of Lord Chaitanya and Lord Krishna. Because we have become so much shackled and imprisoned when the mind is focused upon this dead, dark world. Okay. Is it clear? Harbal, namaste. Let's chant.